Hello.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
It is a good morning.
Morning.
All right. Make sure. Okay, we're going to give everybody one more minute, and then we're going to get started. Okay. All right, we're just going to get started. Hello, everybody. Congratulations. Today, I believe, is going to be phase 2. I think we're still waiting for the governor's announcement. Has anyone heard anything different? Has he said anything yet?
I think it's going on right now.
Okay.
In a few minutes.
Okay. Well, we're working under the assumption that phase 2 is starting today. Debbie and I have gone over extensively the details of how we're going to work in phase 2, how we're going to succeed in phase 2. The exciting stuff is we can be with our clients, we can be in their presence, but there's also a lot of new restrictions that are going to be in place, and some regulations that are going to be with us for the foreseeable future. I don't know if this is going to be with us for a month or a year. So for the moment, we're going to be gradually working our way into opening the office, which we'll discuss in a minute. But I have a lot of you on mute. So if you have any questions, unmute and ask your questions. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Yes. I thought it was tomorrow.
Oh, today's Tuesday. Yes. Okay. So tomorrow, yeah. Congratulations. Tomorrow is phase 2. Please amend my comments to saying congratulations to tomorrow. So tomorrow, we're all assuming phase 2 is happening, and I don't think we'll know until tomorrow. So everything I'm saying is on the premise that we're getting phase 2 started tomorrow. If not, then we will just assume that we're going to do what we're talking about as soon as phase 2 gets started, and then that'll be that. Any other questions or corrections? Okay. So, if phase 2 starts tomorrow, the office is not reopening tomorrow. We are doing a deep cleaning. We've hired a company to come in and make sure that this place is as safe as humanly possible. So we're going to have a deep cleaning. We hired a company that has been dealing with these situations lately, and they're going to make sure that when we do open, this place is rid of any risk of any virus. That's happening on Friday. So the deep cleaning is at Friday at 5 p.m. Nobody's permitted at the office after 4 p.m. on Friday. So, and they can't come in until Monday, 6:15. So we are going to essentially do a soft open on Monday. On Monday, things will stay virtually the same. We're going to have, we are able to have staff back in, but there's going to be, some restrictions with who can come into the office. It actually is getting more stringent at phase 2 for a lot of us, a lot of the individual agents, than it was in phase 1. So phase 2, doors will remain locked. We're still encouraging people to work from home. If you need to come to the office, we're going to have one agent permitted in the back at all times. They can, hold on, let me remute John. They can book for an hour-and-a-half interval. So if you need the office, we have to have plexiglass installed to separate certain areas. There's some construction that needs to be done just to make sure that we are Department of State compliant. But the way the office is laid out to create the type of distancing that they're demanding to avoid risk and to avoid fines, we're going to have it so that one person can come at a time. So if you need to use the office, if you need to do anything, you have to schedule it, and you can come in and you can have the office for hour-and-a-half intervals right now until we find another way. No clients or customers permitted in the front conference area. We had to basically measure out where we can have people so that we can have a 6-foot distance for people. So essentially what we're going to have to do here is we're actually going to create a outdoor space for now. So if you need a central point to meet, right now the best we can do is create a space outside because there's no layout, there's no functional layout in our office where we can have a compliant meeting according to the Department of State. So right now, if you need to have a meeting at the office or a central location and you want to use it here, we're going to create an outdoor space for you guys. So hope it doesn't rain that day. We're going to have tables and chairs set up so that you guys can have meetings, weather permitted. If you're in the office, you must wear a mask or a face covering. And every person that comes in every day, meaning that if you come in Monday, you have to fill out a health screening. You're going to have 3 questions that are going to basically ask you how you're feeling, if you've had contact with anyone that wasn't feeling well or had COVID. And you're going to have to fill that out and sign it. We have to keep that on file. So, Debbie, do we know what those 3 questions are?
I do. I don't have them in front of me right now, but do you have a fever? Have you been in contact with anyone who's sick? Are you sick? And do you have any symptoms? You have to sign it and date it every time you come in the office. So if you come in the office at 9 and then you leave at 12 and then you come back at 2, you have to do it again.
Thank you, Debbie. So yeah, we have to keep that on file. So everybody that comes in has to fill out that form, and it's something we have to keep on file. So if you're not comfortable answering those questions, I get it. The libertarian in me wants to, wants to fight it, but it's something that the Department of State can come in, check to make sure that I'm filling out these forms and give me a massive fine if they're not done. So if you're uncomfortable filling that out, we can't have you at the office. Okay. Everyone must disinfect all items and surfaces used every day. So if you come into the office and you use it, whatever computer you're using, if you're using anything, you have to make sure you disinfect all surfaces and items. Lysol, Clorox wipes will be provided. We must maintain proper social distance in the office or anywhere, 6 feet. We have to eliminate all water coolers, microwaves, coffee makers, toasters. We can't, no congregating, no standing around, no crowding around the front desk. We have to keep a distance. We can't share supplies. So if there's something that you need, let us know, and we will provide it for you. When it comes to, we're talking about, we're gonna have to probably put pens in baggies to hand to people, and if they need a pen, and then they now own that pen. Masks and gloves will be made available to the agents and employees at no cost to you. If you are sick, think you are sick, or have been around someone who's been sick within the last 14 days, we cannot have you at the office. We're gonna have to mail out all checks and to be in compliant with the Department of State so that we're not having people congregating. Dropping off commission checks, please, must be at the front desk no later than 3 p.m. on Wednesday, or will not be processed. And we need to make sure we have your proper address so that we know where to mail your checks. All paperwork such as new listings, under contracts, pricing, etc., must be submitted electronically to the front desk to cut down on items being shared and touched. So email, scan and email everything. Okay, so that's office stuff. Does anyone have any questions about office stuff? Okay, great. Let's get.
When we drop off a commission check, do we have to sign in and do all that once we enter the office?
I think the moment you break the plane of that door, you have to fill that out. If there's a history of you coming there, and then the Department of State checks to see if you were there, and if there was a form filled out, whether they will check whether or not there was a form filled out. That's how I may incur a fine. Debbie, do you agree?
Yeah. Anytime anybody comes into the office for any reason, even if you're just dropping off a check, you have to fill out a form.
I have 2 questions. If we need the Matterport this weekend, do we contact you directly? Are you going to have them?
Yeah, I will. That's a good idea. I will put them in my car or have them somewhere so that we can have them available over the weekend.
And
or any other item, please let me know. I'll take it out. I'll take it out of the office so that it's not stuck in here over the weekend.
And the other question is, how are we going to know who's scheduled for the front desk to come into the office? If it's one at a time, will there be something posted that we can go in and take a look to see if there's a slot open and we can fill in?
We've actually talked about that. We're going to look into finding some type of software where we can have a public schedule. But until that happens, you could just give a call and see what's available.
Okay, so it's all through the front desk right now.
It's all through the front desk.
I have a question, Peter.
Shoot.
I think I have a commission check in my mailbox.
Okay.
Can I get that now, or does it have to be mailed to me?
Get it today.
Okay.
Tomorrow is phase 2.
All right, I will come today.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions about office?
Pete, I have a question. Can we drop the checks? Like, is there maybe a slot in the door or something where we could just commission check? So you rather us come in and, you know what I'm saying? Is there any way we can check in?
We don't have a slot. If
Have a box, Pete, next to the lemon tree that they can use.
okay.
The key, where we put the keys, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Next to the lemon tree?
I wouldn't recommend putting the commission checks in that mailbox.
Right. Okay.
It can-
So just bring them in. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Anyone else?
We've used dropping the checks off and we haven't had any issues. Because with Debbie, we've communicated like, hey, there's a check and Debbie's aware.
Right.
So as long as Debbie's aware and she knows if she says yes, the Dropbox should be fine. Debbie, do you agree with that? Unless you instruct them differently?
So you're asking me if the Dropbox is fine or if leaving them on the desk is fine?
No, the Dropbox. Because I know
No,
you
I think-
have been dropping in the Dropbox.
Yeah, plenty of agents have been dropping their either commission checks or their monthly dues in the Dropbox. We haven't had any problems with that. It's locked. It's not like anybody can just walk by and open it.
And there's
plus-
outside cameras too.
Right. Plus, the checks are all made out to Remax. So even if somebody puts the check, it's not like they can cash it and do anything with it. Dropbox is fine.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I have a question, Peter, regarding the little room up front that you said that we won't be able to use.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 6 foot, meaning more so because you do have a wall there? Is that because of between that room and someone sitting behind the reception desk? Two people sitting in that room, one by the window and one by the little nook. No. That's like 6 feet.
I think it's too close quarters.
Yeah.
You can schedule where you're using it as an individual, but we.
No, I'm talking about sitting down with one person in that little space.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, I'm hoping and praying, obviously, that we get past all of this for our health, safety, and make business nice and easy again. But right now, we need to follow these guidelines.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Okay. All right, let's talk showings. So tomorrow, phase 2, we can be with our clients again. We can be in houses with them again. So I'm sure we're all excited about that. It's going to make life a lot easier. I think it's going to make showing time useful again. So that's I'm super excited about that because I've been fielding every call for my listings because every conversation is a complicated one, to say the least. So right now, showings are allowed with phase 2 in unoccupied or vacant properties, meaning that they can only show the house with 2 primary buyers, meaning that dad can't be there. So congratulations, you have a reason to say that dad can't be at the house. And show 2 buyers. Everyone has to wear the proper PPE gear, gloves, mask, and the seller cannot be there. The other agent cannot be there. It has to be essentially three individuals.
What about children?
Debbie?
What about children?
I don't know. Debbie,
Because I've had people asking me, if they have young kids, like, are their kids allowed to go in with them or not?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
NYSAR's rules were, I believe it was children had to remain outside. So one person in, one stays out with the children if
That's
needed.
right.
Okay. So all right. So we'll clarify that. We'll take a look at that. Maybe
Okay.
Elaine, you saw that in
That was in that 13-page pamphlet from, I think, June 1st that they sent out.
Okay.
Yeah, and the NYSAR thing, it said it right in that pamphlet. Children have to stay outside.
Okay.
So I have a question. Like, I have buyers. There's 3 of them on the mortgage. All 3 of them are buying. I can only let 2 of them into the house. Well, let them switch out. Pull another appointment, or do I just switch them out when they're done? Like,
Yeah, I would do a switch. I would switch in and out. It's 3. It's essentially 3. Okay. All right. So all individuals obviously still must wear face mask and gloves. You have to replace or clean and disinfect your gloves at every showing, meaning that you got to either clean your gloves or throw them away and put new gloves on. You have to clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces, i.e. handrails, doorknobs, before and after every showing. So I guess you got to be prepared to go there early or walk through and open the doorknob with disinfectant attached to your hand. Maybe we can create Lysol gloves, but that's essentially what we have to do is disinfect everything disinfect and then re-disinfect. Disinfect going in and then an exit disinfection. Everyone must maintain a 6 feet distance from each other. We have to, as listing agents, stagger showings in order to avoid congregation of people outside and inside the properties. So I'm assuming that means that we're going to have buffer time. So you can't have a showing stacked between 1:30 and 2 and possibly 2 and 2:30, because you might have someone waiting outside and they might cross each other somehow and be within 6 feet. So we might have to have buffer time in between booking showings. Open houses, they're allowed with one party inside at a time, meaning you have the open house. I see that there's some, maybe we can get some clarity on this, because if we're having an open house, we're also creating congregation outside in the front, right? So we're gonna have to figure out how to meet the guidelines I just said with the guidelines that they gave me just now for open houses. But you can only be, again, with 3 people, meaning if you have an open house and somebody brings their agent, let the agent go through with their buyers and you stay outside. Any questions about that?
Peter?
Yeah.
Maybe we can have like a sign, like, go to our sign company and have like a stand-up sign made up about that, like one at a time, and social distancing, whatever. Maybe we can have that like made up so you could post a sign there before, you know what I'm saying, before they enter the house so they know.
Like a lawn sign at the front door. Kind of.
Yeah, or like, just a regular, like a stand-in sign that we would do with, like,
Sure.
Like, stay in your
like
car,
that.
you will be invited in.
What's that?
Like, please stay in your car, you will be invited in.
Right. And then, but how do you know who pulled up?
Yeah, I have a question too, Peter.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My question is, say someone calls in, a buyer calls in, and they're like, hi, I'm outside of this house right now. I see there's an open house going on. And, like, how exactly, like, if we can't get in touch with the agent who's hosting the open house, what should we tell the buyer? Like, you know what I mean?
Good question.
Like, if agents in the house showing the home and someone just pulled up and they're looking at it, and we can't get in touch with whoever's showing the home, what should we do?
Good question. So I would ask them to remain outside. If there is an actual open house, somebody will be there and they'll be walking someone out. So
Okay.
ask them to remain outside, help them understand the circumstances because of the current circumstances with the pandemic. Please just wait outside. Someone will be outside shortly and will help you.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I have a question, Peter.
Shoot.
Inspections.
Yeah.
What about those?
Debbie, did you see anything about inspections? Are we allowed to be with our?
There's a whole section about inspections in the pamphlet. I didn't go through. I can send out the pamphlet if you've all not had a chance to go through it yet. I don't have an answer for you right now, but I know it does have them in that pamphlet.
I think I read something about it's up to the home inspector.
Yes, because originally not home inspectors were allowing one agent and one buyer only. And then it was up to the agent, not the agent, the home inspector, whether to actually allow an agent in. But they're not under the NYSAR rules.
Right. Well, but we are. So it's
Hmm.
all right. So it's up to the inspector. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll verify that. All right.
I have one more question. Sorry. Are we still providing signs to everyone? Open house signs? Or does everybody need their own sign? When should they come in to pick the sign up? Like, how's that going to work?
Good question. All right. Well, we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, any other questions before I move on?
Can you just clarify when you say the house has to be unoccupied? So it could be a house that somebody lives in, the owners just can't be in there, correct?
Yes, correct. So if it's, doesn't matter if it's vacant or occupied most of the year, that moment when you're showing it, they cannot be in the home with them.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Require buyer leaseor to complete screening survey questionnaire before entering the property. Require seller leaseor to complete screening questionnaire before any individual enters their property. Require seller leaseor to disclose if they've become symptomatic or if they test positive of COVID-19 within 48 hours of the last visit to their property, and require buyer leasee to disclose if they've become symptomatic. So we have to do this, give the screening survey to every one of our clients every time we're with them. And we are requiring them, which I don't know how much power we have to require them to disclose to us whether or not they've tested positive or have symptoms, but we have to at least verbalize that to them, that we're requiring that they tell us. So
They don't have to sign anything, we just have to ask them.
For every time you see them, they're gonna have to fill out the same form. Is it, Debbie, is it the same form that's gonna be for, that shows up?
Questions, whether or not you can actually have, they're obviously, they can refuse, and then you would just note that they refuse, just so we have it on file if we ever get questioned about it.
Yeah.
So you'll be sending that out, right, Debbie?
Yep, I'm going to send everybody a copy of the questions for you guys to give to all your clients and customers.
Right.
So that is for when you are taking a buyer for a showing. How does it work on the reverse? I thought you said, Peter, also sellers are completing that too for each showing?
Well, sellers are completing it. So, and all right, so sellers have to complete it to have a showing on that day, and buyers have to complete it, when you're with them as well for the showing.
But my point is, this is when we get to the showing, we have them signing. It's not like with the COVID where we were sending it ahead of time for the appointment.
No, it's an in the moment thing. Hey, how are you feeling? Sign here.
What do we do with our listings? We're giving our homeowner the form and saying, make sure the buyer signs this before you let them in, but they can't be in.
No, we're giving the form to the buyer.
Yeah.
But if we're not this showing agent, the selling agent,
we need the seller to sign. The other brokerage is responsible for their own.
Okay.
Having their people sign it and keeping it in their file.
So if I have a showing tomorrow,
yeah,
I have to send that form to my seller and say every day that you have a showing, just sign this, and I'll keep a log of it.
Right.
So if a seller has 4 showings that day, he has to sign that for single showing because they're different buyers,
I
correct?
think just for the day. Debbie, did you get a different sense of?
Because that's a little tricky then.
I mean,
Yeah, hold on. Just give me 1 second. Complete screening questionnaire before any individual enters their property. So unfortunately, it does sound like every time somebody enters their property. But if they haven't left the house, then I don't see any reason why they'd have to do it every single time. But they are going to have to leave the house in between showings. So, yep, it looks like every time.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, we might literally need to, for our listings, because if I remember correctly, we can't have this e-signed. This has to be wet ink because we're not allowed to keep medical documents on electronic file. So.
But how am I going to get it from my seller? I have to go there for
a screenshot or scan an email or anything like that.
Well, I mean, I think that, I don't know if that qualifies as a digital file.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
the
would
question.
say give your clients a stack of them and have them fill them out as like if they have 4 showings that day, have them fill it out 4 times, sign it, and then pick it up when you can.
They may have to date it then for the, put the time of the showing so that they know for which showing it was for.
Yeah, as much detail as they can put in it.
I thought it said somewhere that it could be a verbal questionnaire, no?
Yeah, that's going to be
I don't think so.
easy.
And look, I am diving through all this and reading it and rereading it, and Debbie more so than me.
And this would come into place for listing appointments as well?
Okay.
Would this come into place for listing appointments as well?
It would. Any interaction, anytime you're in the space where, so like if you would do agency disclosure, you're also doing this. And then if you're in their space again, if you have a second appointment to go sign, if you're going to do photos at their house and you're in their space, you have to do that. If you're going to be inside walls with them, they need to fill this out.
Okay, so if we do a listing appointment and the seller's not there, so an investor's house,
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing the listing online, I've been in the house when he's not there, that's fine. I don't have to fill that out.
Technically, you don't have to fill that out. So if you're not in their space, this is about being in each other's space. This is about, like, they want records of times this disease, this virus might have spread, I guess. So if there was no chance of that because you're on the phone, that's not gonna require a signature, that to be filled out. But anytime more than one person, more than one party is in someone else's space, then when it comes to a real estate transaction, that's when it's going to have to be filled out.
I heard something about this where it said that all of these surveys and things like that to keep on file, it's really just to leave a paper trail. That way, if God forbid somewhere down the line, someone tested positive, they can just completely backtrack and then figure out like where else it could have gone, like through that trail.
Right.
So it's really just to keep it on file.
And that's a good point because I don't know at what point someone's going to get the disease this virus that is attached to someone that's attached to someone that's attached to our office, whether the Department of State come in to do a routine question and find me or find us for whatever reason. So please, this is really important that in this moment that
If they want us to handle these papers and hold them.
Yeah.
But meanwhile,
house, right?
Going on where the seller is just letting the buyers in the house and vacating the house without not having to sign anything.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question, Peter. All of these surveys that each individual is having filled out from their sellers, their clients, their listing appointments, all of that, do we need to be keeping that on file, or every individual keeps everything they do on file, and then if we were asked about it at the office, we collect them? Or are we just keeping everything all together?
So I'm not sure if we're treating this like agency disclosure, or where like you keep it on file, or we have to collect it. Debbie, do we have any understanding of that?
I mean, I just think that for convenience sake, everybody just holds on to their own stuff. And then if we get questioned, then you would have to be able to produce it, because Elaine and I are already going to be holding on to all the surveys that everybody has to fill out every time they walk in and out of the building. So I think if everybody could just hold on to their own stuff and just make sure you're able to produce it if we need it, that would probably be most convenient for everybody.
Any questions?
Pete, we could always probably scan and email them, right?
I don't think so. And you know I hate paper, but the
And
department,
it's like a digital thing.
yeah, we have to avoid keeping it digital, because we can't hold.
It's like a privacy issue for an individual.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we can hold it on a paper file, but we can't have it in a digital file. And I don't know if an email classifies as a digital file.
Well, what about, just taking a snapshot, then it becomes digital, right? So
Right.
they just have to sign it and hold it each day that they have a showing each time, and then we have to pick it up.
So please, I know, and this market is getting more and more busy, and I know I've had circumstances where like I'm showing, where I've showed, in years past, Zillow agents, Zillow clients, this person, and I've done agency disclosure 10 times in a day, and I don't even remember some of the people, or when I showed it to them. I just have this agency disclosure that I have to remember who it was in case the Department of State comes. So don't be me. Take notes on who it was and when, so that should New York State come down on us, we're totally prepared.
Do we write all the addresses in? Like if I'm showing, say, 5 houses, I don't need 5 for the same person, right?
No, you need it for that one. You say yes?
Well, if you're making, if
Yeah.
you're making,
Who's talking?
I was going to say yes, but then maybe Debbie would know better from the paperwork, because if you're asking sellers for each individual showing, isn't it the same for the buyers for each house that they're entering?
Well,
no, Pi is correct. It goes by property. So if you're showing buyers 5 different properties, they have to fill it out before they enter every property.
So it's really, each form has to be based on date, property, and time.
Correct.
All that information, and who it is, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit of paper, and I'm wondering, they haven't given how long it has to be held on to. Like with the disclosures agency, we have to keep it for years. They haven't said anything yet how long that paperwork has to be kept.
Yeah, it might be until this virus is gone.
Yeah, but agency, one sheet of paper. This is if you're showing 5.
Exactly.
Exactly. Silly if you're doing it in the same day, that they can't just say, and I show that regarding this property, put it all on one sheet.
I have a question, Peter.
Shoot.
That's a good question, Karen.
Peter?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I don't see where it says, though, that it has to be like a written thing. Because when you look on where it says in-person showings, like even the email today, it just says that they suggest you have the questionnaire, and it should be, they encourage you to do it by email or phone, if possible. So doesn't that mean it could be a verbal?
I'll look into that. That would be wonderful. Debbie, did you see something different?
No, let me just go over it again, and I'll get back.
There was 2 sides to that. There was a mandatory and a recommended.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I get this email?
So you got it.
I don't see where it says like it has to be a written questionnaire.
Well, we'll get clarity on that, and that would be wonderful if it wasn't. But perhaps we could even create a form that has multiple showings on it, so that they sign at each showing that they still feel fine. Because you're getting in your car, you're going to the next place, you know,
It should be for the day though, because you're feeling fine that day when you're showing them. I don't think it should be each showing. If you're today, have you been feeling like this? So that should be good for all 5 showings.
right. Or have you been in contact?
And write the addresses and have them sign it at each house?
Yeah,
Even
I
initial
like that.
signing. I would think that signing it and just listing the houses and having them initial with like a little arrow towards these 5 houses would be fine.
Yeah, so maybe just write up each address on the form and have them initial each time you get to them,
Right.
and do that.
But on just the one sheet.
I think just on the one sheet for now, and look, there's a lot we need to clarify. There's a lot of information that we're taking in, and there's a lot of open questions about, the interpretations of a lot of this. So as we go, we're going to get more efficient at it. We're going to understand it better. But this is where we're at right now.
Peter, I have a question.
Shoot.
I know that I think it was June 1st that like the first 13-page pamphlet came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that a new one then came out that was like a much longer, more in-depth version. Is everyone going to get a copy of that? Of the longer version?
Yeah, I think everyone did get a copy of it through NYSAR, but we can get that out to everyone as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That would be great.
Okay.
Because then we could all be on the same page.
And we're all reading the same.
Everyone would be reading the same thing, and then we could all probably help each other figure it out a lot better.
Right. Okay, thank you. Okay, the good news is we can show houses. We can be with our clients, and we can put a lot more business together. There's going to be a little bit extra paperwork. There's still obviously office headaches as far as having meetings. Meetings are probably going to continue to be virtual for the foreseeable future. I have some digital stuff coming down the pipe soon, but at least we're seeing the opportunity to make life a little bit easier and to be with our clients, which is something that I've personally missed quite a bit.
And we could still do final walkthroughs, just maintaining distance and all the other rules, correct?
Right. Okay, any questions?
I have one, Pete. Oh, also closings. We can be at closings now?
I don't know.
I read that we're encouraged not to be.
Still, okay.
I feel that too. I don't know if anyone else.
So,
I read somewhere that
what'd you say, Tom? You were not.
I read somewhere that we're still not allowed to go.
Yeah, look, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discouragement for still, being physically with people. So any moments that we're not adding as much value as we normally add, we're probably going to be discouraged to be at, and it's probably the right decision in the moment. So we'll continue to wait outside of closings. Anyone else?
I have a question about walk-ins.
About what?
About people who come to try to walk in. How is that gonna go?
So right now, if there's a walk-in, everyone, again, I just want to point out, especially to staff, that everyone has to be in their PPE gear. So when a walk-in walks in, we're going to leave the door locked so that people can't just walk right in, but you're going to walk around, you're going to open the door in your mask and in your gear, ask them how you can help. If they're there to see somebody or meet somebody, make sure that whoever they're there to see is comfortable with whatever's going on. And then they'll either have to do the meeting outside, like we talked about, or when they come in, you're going to have to make sure they fill out that form discussing how they feel.
When you say gear, just a mask, right?
Gloves.
Gloves.
Gloves and mask.
Yeah,
Wait, I gotta wear gloves while I'm working?
you do.
Yes.
So I should change my gloves when I'm typing, when I'm touching the printer, when I'm touching a door, or the same gloves can be worn?
So you're gonna, I mean, look, I'm telling you as your leader that you must wear gloves and don't touch multiple things without changing your gloves. This is complicated. Doing it and actually doing it in the moment. I get we're gonna have a learning curve, and we're gonna figure out how to do things properly, safely, and also not get fined by the Department of State.
But you're also wiping down after you're using things.
Right. So you're wearing gloves, but then when you're done and you're ready to leave, Lysol wipes everything. Lysol, the Clorox wipes that Debbie has left there.
Right.
And Clorox everything down.
Right.
Peter, I'm looking at this thing that says about the showings, and it says everything should try and be done remotely. It doesn't really say anything. Maybe it's outdated, but it says 6.2. For both types of screening questionnaires, NISR strongly recommends remote screening, as this may eliminate in-person contact. So they even say the screening can be done remotely: telephone, electronic survey, email. So it's not saying anything about this.
So maybe there's a difference between what we're allowed to do for employees and what needs to be done for clients. So like we'll take a look at that, and I'll get that clarified out. That would be great if we can
ask them. Are you sick today?
That's what I was saying about the showings.
But whatever happens, whether it's a text message, whether it's an e-signature, we have to keep that on file, because I know the way the world is right now, somebody's going to get something, and it's going to be tied to one of our 38 agents or one of our hundreds and hundreds of clients, and there's going to be so we'll get clarification on the best way, the most efficient way that we can do these questionnaires, but we have to keep them on file one way or the other.
Now, for walk-ins, would we be able to maybe put a sign on the door to call the office and let them know that they're outside, where we can then, like, if we're able to screen them or find out who they are before letting them in, so there's more comfort?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We can definitely have video make a sign for
The problem is letting them in at all. Where do you put that you're 6 feet with everybody?
that. Yeah.
Well, more of knowing who's out there. So if there's an agent in the back waiting for someone, at least we can then say, wait outside, I'll let the agent from the back come out, or then saying whatever needs to be said. Because really no walk-ins would be coming in at that point, because no one could meet with a walk-in inside the office.
What if a walk-in comes and they're not wearing a mask?
We have,
So I'm not the door?
we have masks to provide to anyone that comes. Yeah, I have to have masks and gloves to provide to staff, agents, and any clients or potential clients.
Okay, because that was like my main thing. If the door is locked at all times, someone comes, knocks on the door, Debbie and I then get up to go open the door. Whoever's there, they go to open the door. Right there, we're not 6 feet apart if the person's standing right there.
Yeah.
You have to hand them off a mask if they're not wearing one. Mask and gloves.
Are you putting a plexiglass over the front desk?
Yep, that was measured this morning.
What about an intercom with a buzzer? Wouldn't that be easier?
That's actually a decent idea. I mean, actually, you have wonderful ideas all the time, Sandy. But yeah, I think that's something we could look into.
Pete, does the girls up front wear masks? Does Debbie and
yeah,
Elena wear masks?
Yes.
Okay.
When they're there alone?
Even when they're there alone. And if
Oh,
they're alone,
God.
I don't know about it.
That's a shame.
Wow. Uncomfortable.
Okay, but look, again, I want to reiterate that this is good news. This is phase 2. It comes with some headaches, but it also comes with a lot of opportunity and a lot of chances to make more money, to do business, to see our clients. There's just some paperwork. There's just a few hiccups, a few things. You know, obviously we can't have large gatherings like we enjoy to do, but hopefully that's coming soon.
Okay. Peter, I have another question for you.
Shoot.
As far as buyers and stuff, what's going on out there? Can we talk about the market a little bit as far as what we've been seeing? I know I've been seeing calling on something, get Zillow leads, we call on the properties and they have first accepted, 7 backups, you know, offers on these houses, still low inventory. Do we see anything of that opening up soon?
I've heard anecdotes of a lot of agents saying that they have people that are actually, they're aware of what phase 2 means, and they might be coming out then. So hopefully we're going to see more listings. Anyone else hearing that or feeling that there's
yeah, everything has multiple offers.
Yeah,
everything.
The same day they're even out there. It's like they list the house on day 1, and the next thing I know, there's multiple offers by that night, and best and final the next day.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, it's the same. I mean,
and it's
go ahead.
Is this because of just the such low inventory as of right now, you're thinking? Because it is tough. It's a tough fight to get your buyers something. I know to go after listings is definitely the key right now, but you know, it is definitely tough to work the buyers and putting them on lists of as soon as they come out. Like they said, hopefully that does open up and there are more listings for them soon.
I also think education of the buyers is crucial. They need to understand what they're getting themselves into, how the competition is, and then so like prepping each client for the world they're in, and that your job is to maximize the circumstance. That does not always mean them getting less for the house. It may mean them getting the house that they're going to be in love with for the next 30 years, but having a strategy on how to get it, not necessarily how to save on it, because that's just not the market we're in. So like preparing the client for what to expect is going to be key to getting through this. Shortening that learning curve, so you're not showing an extra 10 or 15 houses to them before they realize it, and making more money.
Peter, going back to our listings with showing time for like vacant homes, are we able, so in the showing instruction, should we say 45 minutes or a half hour between showings?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we're going to need, I think even 15 minutes is fine to have just a gap in between, so that should the 1:30 to 2 show up at 2 and the 2 to 2:30 show up at 2 at the same time, then we're violating that rule, right?
So,
and we're knowingly setting up a situation where that can occur. If we set up even just a 15-minute spread, then we've done our part. We've done what we're supposed to do to make sure that there's not that overlap.
So make it 15 minutes. So make it a half-hour appointment and spread time, and then say the next appointment needs to be
right.
And that can be done through showing time, right?
That can be done through showing time. Yeah. 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 It's just, we'll just call them, or like do it, you know, you might be able to do it through the app, but you may need to call them because of the extra details.
And do you also recommend that we leave things for swipes in every vacant home, like investors' homes, so that?
I think that's a great idea.
I can't hear you.
Yes, my answer is yes.
Okay. Now it's a matter of finding more.
Any other questions?
When are we getting the forms? Because I already have appointments wanting to be made from other agents with our homes that have sellers in it for tomorrow.
Okay. Debbie?
I'll work on that as soon as we get off. I'll get you something right away, Elaine.
All right, thank you.
Me too. I'm gonna have showings tomorrow, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll get it all out right away. And again, this is based on the premise that phase 2 is happening tomorrow. You know, we could be surprised that it's not, and be back in phase, you know, be still continuing phase 1. But all signs say that we're going to be in phase 2 tomorrow. So, there's that. Okay, so let's all make some money. Any questions?
That's it.
Okay. All right, everybody. I appreciate you staying on for an hour. Stay safe. Please take notes. Follow the rules. Can hold on to the files. We'll get clarity on how we can do this in the most efficient way. And call me if you need me. I'm here for it.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.